Got Van
That's why I was
Jones.
here. I said I'm here because I want to be a witness to history. I want to be a witness to history. I was born in 1968. That was the year they tried to kill hope in our country. That's the year they shot Dr. King down. That's the year they shot Bobby Kennedy down. That's the year they beat young people in the streets of Chicago who were standing for peace. The year I was born, 1968, was the year they tried to assassinate hope in America. If I could have been there before I was born, just 7 years earlier, February 1st, 1960, to see a new generation sit in, and in sitting in, stand up for justice and change the world, I would have been there February 1st, 1960. And I know you would have been there too. Well, if we would have been there February 1st, 1960 for that sit-in to stop oppression then, every single person in this city, every single person in this state should be here for this sit-in to prevent the obliteration of the middle class and working class and poor people. Everybody should be here to pay homage to this democracy movement, this democracy moment. This is history. And it has been a long time coming. Now is the time for us to stand up. You know, the folks on Wall Street, God bless them. I want to be very clear about my view on them because sometimes we get a little bit messy with that language. You know, we're the 99% standing up for the 100%. Okay, we're the 99% standing up for the 100%. We have a place for them too. But you can be a banker working at a credit union, trying to help the community, and you will be respected wherever you go. But you cannot be a bankster. You cannot be a bankster anymore and be respected in this country. That's the problem. It's not that they happen to know something about money. I'm glad that they do. It's what they do with their knowledge, hurting us rather than helping us. We have students who are graduating with $100,000 of loans. They graduate off a cliff every spring into no jobs, and nobody seems to care about it. These young people who did the right things, who did what we told them to do, got an education. Some of them got in trouble first, they got their lives together, went and got an education, they graduate off a cliff into no jobs. And they're sitting there on their mom's couch with $100,000 in debt, and they fix the law so they can never declare bankruptcy. They'll have that $100,000 no matter what happens to them. That's wrong. We have these young people. I'm glad that they're saying the war is going to be over. Bring them home. Bring all the troops home. But what are they coming home to? What are they coming home to? Joblessness, homelessness. They, as long as they're overseas, sisters and brothers, and Halliburton can get a cut of it, we'll spend any amount of money on those young people when they're overseas. The minute they get off the plane, they get dumped off in the airport. No jobs, no hope, very little help, and 17 suicide attempts a day. 17 suicide attempts a day among our young veterans. That is wrong. We are a better country than that. We have these homeowners who were trying to house their families. Now, the foreclosure wave is only halfway through. People's mortgages are underwater, and the banks say they won't help out these homeowners. Well, hold on a second, Mr. Bankster. The banksters would be homeless if we hadn't stood together and bailed them out. The banksters would be homeless. They would be on the street. They would be asking for money. But the American people, with our taxpayer dollars, bailed out the banksters. And now they refuse to bail them out. That's why we're occupying Wall Street. That's why we're occupying LA. That's why you have occupations all around the country, because we aren't stupid. We know when we're being disrespected by the people who have the power to make a difference. We're not stupid. We're not stupid. I want to make two more points, and I'm here to more to listen than to talk, but I will tell you two more things. You know, they keep saying that we don't have enough clear demands. I'm getting to you. So now listen. Well, first of all, I'm proud to be a part of Rebuild the Dream, and we do have a 10-point program to try to put people back to work. 131,000 people got together. Since DC was stuck on stupid, they couldn't figure out how to get jobs for anybody. We got 131,000 people, to be clear, 131,203 people, got together online and in person to come up with our own jobs plan. You can go to rebuildthedream.com and see it. And it says end these wars and bring the troops and money home and tax Wall Street and all that stuff. And guess what happened? We polled those 10 points, which DC said were too radical. DC said they were too extreme. DC said we couldn't deal with them. We polled those 10 points, they polled 60 to 80%. The American people aren't stupid. We know that we can have jobs in this country. We know we're not the poorest country in the world. This is not Bangladesh. We are still the richest country in the history of the world. The pie is getting bigger every year. It's just the middle class and working class slice is getting smaller every year. That's what's wrong with America, and we want to fix that. But as far as the Occupy movement is concerned, they keep saying that we don't have enough demands. Hold on a second. First of all, we've had demands forever. Nobody cared. Don't pretend like the lack of demands is why you haven't done anything. You got every group in LA and every group in California that had demands forever. You didn't care. So it's not the demands. Second of all, this movement is not yet powerless enough to have demands. I'll say that again. This movement is not yet powerless enough to have demands. Powerful people don't have demands. Powerful people have goals. Powerful people have aspirations. Powerful people have stuff they are doing. Powerless people have demands. This movement has power. And it doesn't have to have demands. It has to have goals. And that's what you've got. You got a goal for this country. And that's good enough. The last thing... Arrest the gangbangsters. Sorry. The last thing is, people keep saying, now, first they didn't care about you. Now they're act like you're gods. Well, what if they don't come out and vote? And what are they going to do with the election? And, you know, they're going to mess up everything. Hold on a second. 6 weeks ago, you didn't even care. Now this movement has got the power to change. Okay, well, fine. Well, listen to this. The election's a year from now. It is premature to try to corral and bully any movement this young into doing anything that it doesn't want to do. It is not the time for this movement to try to accommodate itself to politics. Politics needs to accommodate itself to this movement. That's what needs to happen. Politics needs to accommodate itself to this movement and listen to the people who are out here with big hopes, big dreams, big interference.
By the intelligence agencies.
Over time, we'll have the opportunity to make decisions about how we want to relate to other things, whether it's elections or setting up co-ops and all the stuff that's going to come out of a movement like this. But what we are seeing is the birth of a new movement that will change this world. The last time we had a generation of Americans that was this big come pushing its way through American society, it was called the baby boomers. And when they stood up, we had 270 plus years of enslavement in America, followed by 100 years of Jim Crow. Think about that. We had to fight a civil war to get from enslavement to apartheid. From enslavement to apartheid, 100 years of Jim Crow terror.
Yep.
And that young generation stood up.
Come on.
Started in 1960, and by 1968 it was over. One big generation standing up. Now look what you have now. This generation that's powering this is bigger than the baby boomers. It's bigger, it's more diverse, it's more technologically savvy, it was born connected, it is more ecologically savvy, it is more socially minded than any generation of Americans ever born. Now when this generation stood up in 2008, they changed history. When they sat down in 2010, they made history.